Booster vaccinations in several pharmacies in Metro Manila begins today. Vaccinees welcome the initiative and the systems in place on the first day of implementation. More LGUs are implementing restrictions against the unvaccinated, similar to protocols being imposed in the NCR. Meanwhile, transport officials insist that essential travels are exempted from vaccination checks. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte says she will push for mandatory military service for 18-year-old Filipinos if she is elected vice president. The presidential daughter says this will instill patriotism among the youth. And netizens took to social media to express support for an 80-year-old man who was arrested and detained for a week for allegedly stealing mangoes. The story of Lolo has now gone viral, with many pointing out the unjust treatment for ordinary citizens. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Some pharmacies and clinics have begun serving as vaccine sites under the government's new inoculation initiative. JC Cosico with the story.
Tents and chairs were set up at the parking area of this drugstore in Malate, Manila. This is for the triage, as select pharmacies begin rolling out COVID-19 vaccines on Thursday. The initiative is dubbed Res Vacuna sa Butika. The actual administration of the shot and monitoring will be done in the pharmacy. To avoid mix-ups and overcrowding, regular customers and vaccinees were placed in different queues. The main vaccine area was placed at the side of the drugstore so as not to affect the regular operations.
Hindi naman kayo naabala?
Hindi naman. Hindi, maluwag nga yun eh. Dahil kunti lang yung tao.
Vaccinees welcome the systems in place.
Mas magiging accessible po after ng vaccine dose. Dediretso na rin po sa mga pharmacy. Meron na pong accessible na mga medication for it.
The health department assured that those who will administer the shots underwent training.
They are trained to first and foremost observe the entire process of vaccination, from registration to education and counseling to finding out if they have existing comorbidities to the actual vaccination.
Duque said their service will also be free of charge. However, walk-ins are not allowed and vaccinees must pre-register. The number of vaccinees a drugstore can accommodate will depend on the number of registrants. As of now, 7 pharmacies and clinics are participating in the initiative. The government is also looking into expanding this to nearby regions and eventually nationwide.
Sasamantalahin natin yung kanilang presensya sa mga iba't ibang mga lugar, lalo na yung mahirap abutin ng ating mga kababayan, yung kanilang mga vaccination sites. Pero kinakailangan pa rin may tamang sukat yung lugar na kung saan isasagawa ang bakuna sa butika. Dahil hindi mo pwedeng maliit.
Pharmacies, for their part, have also been coordinating with their regional counterparts in support of the initiative. As of January 19, over 56 million have been fully vaccinated, while more than 5.6 million have gotten boosters. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Stranded passengers are camped outside the Manila Northport after being barred from boarding a ship headed back to their province of Zamboanga. All this just because they are not yet fully vaccinated. Justine Punsalang with their stories.
10 days after waiting outside Manila Northport, stranded Badjaus were finally allowed to enter this morning. 90 were stranded outside the port, 21 of which were minors. They were barred from boarding their ship going to Zamboanga as they are still partially vaccinated.
Kompleto na naman kami sa ticket. Pero ang problema, kulang daw isa ang bakunado.
Nabakunahan na po kayo?
Oo, noong isang araw.
Having no place to stay, the stranded Badjaus camped outside Manila Northport under the sun and even in the pouring rain.
Kaya hindi kami umalis dito sa pantalan ng barko sa Pel 4, talaga wala kaming budget.
The Social Welfare Department as well as Good Samaritans provided stranded passengers with food. This morning, Transportation Secretary Arthur Togade has instructed the Philippine Ports Authority to let the stranded passengers board the ship back to their province. The PAA should also provide them food, ticket assistance, and financial aid. Tugade notes that they are allowed to go back to their provinces as it is considered as an essential travel. According to the Port Marshal of Manila Northport, the ship going to Zamboanga will sail tomorrow. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
And in one town in Agusan del Sur, tighter restrictions are also being implemented on the unvaccinated. Gem Avancenia with that story.
Bus conductors in San Francisco, Agusan del Sur are now requiring their passengers bound for Davao to be vaccinated. Just like in Metro Manila, the no vaccine, no ride policy is also being enforced upon entry in Davao region. Passengers are generally in favor of the new rule, saying that it's an additional safety measure when riding public transport.
O yun. Payag ako ma'am, para kampante. Di ka magdadalawang isip na bumiyahe. Safe.
A mall in Agusan del Sur is also implementing the rule as well as other establishments and government offices. This prompted some residents to get vaccinated despite initial hesitation.
Bawal na magawas-gawas. So
bawal na kasi lumabas pag walang bakuna. Di sana ako babakuna. Hassle kasi, di ka man lang makapasok ng mall.
However, in a text message, Agusan del Sur Governor Santicane said they are still undecided on whether to implement the rule for the whole province. They are still waiting for the Supreme Court's decision on the legality of the protocol. Some Agusanos are hoping that the policy will not be implemented.
Maapektuhan talaga kita namin kapag di na pinayagang makalabas yung mga walang bakuna. Mas marami pa rin ang di bakunado.
For its part, the Provincial Health Office said it is doing everything to encourage more residents to get vaccinated. Around 58% of the province population have been fully vaccinated, while 74% have gotten at least one dose.
And we already accomplished 74% sa population vaccinated for the first dose. Sa January 14, 58% also already had their fully vaccination. Still, we encountered a lot of people expressing their hesitancy of the vaccine. The zombie apocalypse na sinasabi nila, hindi pa rin yan nawawala.
Based on the latest data, Agusan del Sur has more than 800 active COVID-19 cases, most of which are in Bayugan City, Prosperidad, and San Francisco. For News 5, Gem Avancenia, we are One News.
The tandem of Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte has released a partial list of their senatorial slate. Included are Representatives Rodante Marcoleta and Lauren Legarda, suspended lawyer Larry Gadon, and Senators Mig Zubiri and Win Gatchalian. The list also includes former government officials Mark Villar, Harry Roque, Jinggoy Estrada, Gibo Teodoro, and Herbert Bautista. Marcos's spokesman Vic Rodriguez said the slate represents a, quote, mixture of seasoned and proven political personalities. Meanwhile, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte is looking to push mandatory military service if she wins as vice president. Mayor Sara said in a virtual caravan that pushing for mandatory military service will instill patriotism in the youth. She adds that it could also help the country's military force in case of war. The VP Bet wants all 18-year-old Filipinos to undergo military training, similar to that in South Korea and Israel.
Dapat po lahat ng ating 18 years old, kapag pagtungtong mo ng 18 years old, you will be given a subsidy, you will be asked to serve our country doon sa ating armed forces of the Philippines.
Former First Lady Imelda Marcos was trending on Twitter because of an old man who was arrested for allegedly stealing mangoes. A number of social media users compared the case of 80-year-old Narding Floro to that of 92-year-old Mrs. Marcos. The former First Lady has been convicted of graft but has not been imprisoned due to old age. Not like Lolo Narding. Lolo Narding was accused of stealing 10 kilos of mangoes in Pangasinan despite explaining that the tree belonged to him. He was able to post bail of 6,000 pesos today with the help of the public attorney's office and some police officers. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.